is that, he really can't sort of in a vacuum, all else equal between Ezreal and Caitlyn. Nunu doesn't have the same level of poke or damage that Sona has, and it's more about getting in range of Ezreal and putting that Ice Blast down, while putting the Blood Boil down on a Caitlyn. And if he can't put that Blood Boil down and force sort of an exchange with Ezreal, he's just going to get poked down by the Qs, the Ws, the power chords from Sona. So this lane really is one to watch. And I mean, Aphromoo for a long time has been sort of an underrated AD carry bot lane. Doublelift, of course, one of the most sort of prolific AD carries. And it's going to be interesting. I don't think I've actually casted a CLG versus mMe.Ferus game so far in my time with National ESL. So it's going to be interesting to see. And in addition to that, we've actually seen, this is interesting, the Karthus Nocturne combo is going to put a lot of pressure down onto that bot lane, I think. So a nice counter pick by Big Fat LP deciding to go for the Twisted Fate. Looks like Chowster. We're going to see some Chowster Lee Sin. He is a very good Lee Sin player, one of the better Lee Sins in North America, at least in the jungle. And that was the sort of champion that Hotshot couldn't play, the sort of carry, hard damage junglers. He was more about the tanky initiators, so it's going to be good to see.
I want to see them pick Nidalee. Please pick Nidalee. Just do it. That would just...
I love it.
That would be such a fun lane to watch, and I could hear Hotshot just be like, God damn it,
bro.
But I really like Xmithy going for the Nocturne. I haven't seen him play Nocturne in a while, and there's so much global ultimates here. This is definitely a comp we would have seen, minus the Caitlyn, 4 or 5 months ago before the global alt nerfs. You've got the Shen ult in and the Twisted Fate ult in, and that might be what they're going for to deal with bot lane, just to deal with that insane amount of harass and poke, send down the Shen shield, send down the Twisted Fate stun.
Yeah. So I'm just quickly updating this overlay here. Gonna be sure to actually get this right this time around. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to be an interesting early lane stage. As I mean, there is just so much mobility, especially around level 6. And one of the big weaknesses that CLG has often had is, Doublelift and Chowster would say, all right, we have an advantage here, we have an ignite, their exhaust is down, let's go in, let's force a fight. Then all of a sudden, something like a Karthus ult, something like a teleport, something like a Nocturne ult would come out and catch them by surprise. They knew they could win that 2v2, but they didn't really expect to fight, a 3v2 or a 4v2. And that has historically been one of the weaknesses of CLG's bot lane, especially against those Asian teams. Considering the sort of global, semi-global presence of mMe.Ferus, it does quite nicely offset the Twisted Fate and Shen picks. So I'm interested to see how this goes, properly combine that teleport, that Nocturne ult, that Karthus ult, and we could even see some 4v5s and 3v4s down in the bot lane very early on into the game, so let's see.
Yeah, and like you said, Nidalee, Balls has picked up the teleport, so that the blockers are down. We can take a look at what everyone's running. Karthus has picked up exhaust. Balls was running teleport, Aphromoo, and ignite, standard. Everything on Xmithy and Muffin Cutie. And Doublelift going with his cleanse again. He likes having cleanse. He likes getting himself out of dangerous situations with that summoner spell. And, there isn't as much dangerous CC as there was in the previous game we saw CLG playing, but it's still definitely worth it to get away from that Karthus slow, to get away from the Sona ult, to get away from Xmithy's fear.
Yep. Yeah. So really not much else to say. I'm going to actually just head over to the Twitch chat and see what people say. I know there are going to be a lot of CLG fans in the audience today because of this sort of roster switch up with Hotshot finally returning to solo top like the prodigal son. So let's just see in the Twitch chat what you guys think. Who's going to take this game? Is it going to be CLG or is it going to be mMe.Ferus?
And we've got people screaming for links to the brackets and tons of MMEs, Aphromoos, CLGs,
Oh, wow.
hot shots. You just opened up the floodgates, my friend. If you guys want
Pandora's
the brackets,
box is open.
if you guys want the brackets, they are down there in on the overlay brackets bit.ly/qtwwds is the link to the brackets. Type that into
There
your
we go. Because there is not a chance in the world that any bracket links in the
no. And
in the
then
Twitch chat are going to get read, because this is just, I've never seen so much movement in the Twitch chat. I don't know. It looks like it's got an edge for the Monomaniac fans.
yeah, but
And
we're also seeing a fair number of TSM and TPAs. I mean, they could come in out of nowhere and just sweep this game.
TPAs, I like that. Saigon Jokers represent. But seriously, I mean, we saw the CLG games from earlier today, and they really have kind of found their stride again with this sort of lane swaps. And I said earlier, I'm a big fan of Voyboy, but you know, I'm not going to completely write off this decision just yet, and it might actually be exactly what CLG need to kind of regain their position as the #1 team in North America. But with that said, I mean, mMe.Ferus are one of the biggest up-and-comers in the League of Legends esports scene. Uh, this is going to be an interesting game. It's the classic versus it's Coke Classic versus New Coke, and who's going to win?
Versus New Coke. Coke, Coke Zero, Crystal Coke.
I'm still getting messages, by the way, about how to properly pronounce Nat Nguyen's name.
I'm just going to call him Nunubot. Just
Oh,
Nunubot.
I like that.
Just Nunubot. Saves us the trouble of messing up his name. Saves us the trouble of looking like morons, and we instantly see Hotshot GG is disconnected.
Cool. Gaming house internet OP.
Dude, internet was OP at Worlds. I thought they were gonna take the semifinals.
Ugh. Yeah. Well, congratulations, Lowin. You can pat yourself on the back for having a more reliable stream broadcast than Worlds. Not only that,
You can't see it, but I'm doing the Draven pose. Nobody can see it. Nobody can see it but the people in the room, but I'm doing the Draven pose.
Nice.
That's all that matters.
Own
It's
it.
the League of Lowin.
League of Lowin. Welcome to the League of Lowin.
See? Sounds good. Sounds almost as good as the League of Draven.
Yeah. I mean, the syllables all line up nicely. So, anyway, I saw Hotshot running this Warlord Shen skin earlier. It is totally baller. Do we have the overlay set up? Did I do that properly? Do we have everything synced up and ready to go? I know the viewers, 1080p is never enough. Got to have everything ready.
Yeah. The only cast there. This is the only tournament you're gonna get in 1080p for free. It's true. You watch IPL qualifiers, you watch the IPL tournaments, you watch. You can only get what 720p for Worlds and that was the best you got. And
what is this?
Most of the time you can't even get
2011
that.
or something?
Most of the time you can't even get 720p. Most tournaments, they run in 480. I watched MLG in 480.
In Korea, they run at 4.80.
Wait, what?
It looks like it's...
What? I don't even know what you just said.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Oh, never mind. We are back in the game finally. Anyway. So once again, guys, for those of you just tuning in, this is CLG Prime with their new roster versus Monomaniac.Ferus in the finals of the North American Regional Qualifiers for IEM Singapore. Winner of this game is going to be top seed. Loser still gets a chance to go to IEM Singapore. And of course, we just saw that third place game where No Fear, No Prob or Orb Gaming secured their position in the tournament. So, once again, Nat Nguyen is subbing in for Loco Doco. The Loco Doco is recently picked up by CLG. Hotshot's back in the top lane, and Chowster is actually showing us that infamous Chowster Jungle Lee. Likes to call himself the best Jungle Lee in North America. We'll see if he lives up to that claim this time around.
Might be about to get caught here as Shen instantly picks up his taunt and forces the flash out of balls. The yellow card is there, so he's going to take a little bit of damage for his over-aggression. Meanwhile, the rest of Monomaniac are sneaking in to steal away these wraiths as X-Smithy just takes out his wolves.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the really underrated things about Nocturne these days. You don't see him much anymore, but he's actually not only got one of the fastest clear times of any sort of, viable jungler these days, he's actually got a lot of innate sustain through his passive. So someone like a Maokai or a weaker sustained clear time jungler like that is going to have a lot of trouble if they are forced to do the wolves themselves. But someone like a Nocturne and a Lee Sin can actually really get away with that. Does actually look like Chowster's pretty far behind as he, he's pretty low. And not only that, he actually used his smite. You can see Xmithy on Nocturne sitting at full health here. Got a great leash from his team. And not only that, but he hasn't actually used that leash yet. Sorry, that smite yet, which he will be using shortly at red. So Xmithy with sort of an early game lead over Chowster. See how that progresses throughout this early game.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of early aggression from Hotshot, taunting on Denilli, who has actually hit level 2 before him, so he needs to be careful. And I think we may be about to see a gank in mid as Xmithy has moved in. The Karthus wall has gone down. He doesn't want to pop his flash wants to get out of there as much as he can. Flashes when the fear is about to go off, and gets himself out of trouble. Meanwhile, down in bot lane, fair bit of poke out from Doublelift. He's spamming through. I saw him throw down a couple of Qs, but is doing very, very good to land a little bit of damage without burning through his mana too quickly. But Nunu is taking a fair bit of poke from Ezreal as well.
Yeah, this is the weakness of Nunu against this sort of Ezreal Sona lane. And we saw actually Moscow 5, one of the biggest sort of, they almost put support Nunu on the map with that sick Empire play. Actually, in a monthly Go for Law final a while back. Recently at Worlds, though, they've had
looks like this taunt from Shen onto Balls is going to do a ton of damage. Lee Sin comes in from the side. One more kick from Hotshot is going to finish the job. And actually, it was Chowser. I thought Hotshot was in the jungle, but I think Xmithy's going to get the revenge kill. So 2 kills up in top lane. First blood going over to Chowser. He's going to put the gold slightly in CLG's favor.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff there from both teams. A 1-for-1 trade, of course. CLG were able to get that first blood, which is going to bias things slightly in their favor, but Xmithy not laying off this pressure.
On for the next gank. He is going to get the stun onto Mandatory Cloud. Big Fat LP does get exhausted, and the fear proc is about to go off. The pickup onto Mandatory Cloud is going to slightly push the gold back and even, actually, and now down in bot lane, Doublelift is taking a little bit of poke from Sona. Muffin Cutie getting very aggressive. Aftermoon misses the Q, so can't follow it up. Muffin Cutie is just trading with Doublelift. Doublelift now trying to finish off Muffin Cutie as he has no health and no mana. And oh my god, up in top lane, they kill Nidalee.
Sorry, I missed that. I was watching bot. Do you want to... I mean, it's sort of, a little bit clear what happened there. Balls had just teleported in. The flash was down. Still only level 4. Doesn't yet have that Cougar stance. And I think Hotshot knows from all his time playing jungle mid, if you force, top mid, if you force that flash, especially pre-6, Nid isn't as escapable as she's known for being. Everyone expects like, oh, I'm just gonna go gank this Nidalee. She's just gonna pounce away. I'm not gonna get anything done. I'm not gonna bother. But no, this stage in the game, Hotshot with that 1.5 second taunt at level 1, really able to put the pain down on a Balls' Nidalee. Actually, Balls forced to pick up that Doran's blade already. Anyway, as I was saying, Moscow 5 really put support Nunu on the map. And recently at Worlds, they had a lot of trouble with this Ezreal Sona lane. It's very poke heavy. They never really have to get into an auto attack duel. And it's going to be interesting to see how Afromoo and Muffin Cutie can kind of hold up. Currently, it's 36 to 39 CS. It's pretty even. But they are forcing Afromoo to build a couple of Doran's blades before his Trinity Force, which is going to kind of delay his early mid-game strength, and that's what Ezreal's all about. So yeah, it's good so far for Nat and Doublelift. They're not really getting outpoked the way that they would otherwise fear to be. It looks like the lane is actually now pushing in their favor.
Oh, it looks like Xmithy is going to get caught doing some counter jungling by Chowser. And I think they're going to try and turn this into an engage as Mandatory Cloud is coming from the side. They do miss the wall. Great juking by Big Fat LP. Perfect movement. And I mean, like, you don't think about that kind of stuff often, just how well someone can move. But he didn't touch the Karthus wall, even though he was basically running into it.
Yeah, that's twice in a row now. And I mean, Big Fat really is doing a good job with that. He wasn't really rewarded it with that first attempt to outrun it. They were able to pick up that kill, but this time around, no. His movement around the walls has definitely been spot on. And that's sort of, what separates the good players from the bad players, if you will. As that, that certainly would have been a kill. A level 5 Twisted Fate against a level 6 Karthus. Just the difference in damage output there is pretty stacked in favor of Karthus.
Yeah, and Xmithy, he would have just turned around, landed a Q, a basic attack or two. He's got a red buff. The extra slow would have kept him in place. They easily could have picked up that kill as they go in for what looks like a blue steal. Very, very
GG's
aggressive.
gone back.
Oh, GG's
Ward
gone
goes
back.
down.
Chaucer knows what's up. He is coming in to steal this away, but Xmithy is going to smite it. And the Twisted Fate ultimate was out. They wanted to get some vision there, but not going to be able to do anything with it.
Oh, can you go ahead and update the
No, I didn't line up the lanes.
line of the things?
My bad, guys. Thanks for reminding me.
No worries.
So with that in mind, bot lane is still pretty even, 61 CS to 57, so slightly in the favor of Doublelift, doing a very good job of farming his way to victory as is necessary on Caitlyn.
Yeah, we saw that Doublelift Vayne coming out earlier. Really, this Caitlyn is there's no way that Doublelift on Vayne would be performing this well in lane. Even with that Nunu support. I mean, there's just too much poke from Ezreal and Sona to do anything about it. But with that Nunu support, with that long range on Caitlyn, really, really, really seems like he's able to get that control down early mid-game. So, actually a little bit of a gold advantage still being held on by CLG, despite arguably an early game sort of team comp advantage for mMe.F.
Yep, and Lee Sin is coming up into top lane as Hotshot is getting dueled down a little bit by Balls. He's just outside the range, and in comes that just taunt play once again, but the Cougar form is there for Nidalee. She can just run away and just pounce her way away from Hotshot, who is still chasing and doesn't decide to taunt under the tower. He's pretty much out of energy, and they force Balls
Hotshot
away.
went in a little bit too early there. Chester actually lost the range on his W there. Not only did he go in a little bit early, but he has got level 2 boots. He's got those Ninja Tabi. He's got Ghost, whereas Chester's only sitting on the boost of speed. Not only that, but it's given Monomaniac a chance to get the first dragon of the game 9 minutes and 20 seconds in.
You got the dragon timer?
Dude.
Aw, sweet. So it looks like Balls is getting pinched in on here. They're taking out the minions just behind the tower, Lee Sin going forward to farm that up a bit. And now Balls jumping onto Hotshot is trying to possibly execute him. He doesn't have an ignite. He still has his flash though, so baiting around Chaucer, letting his team get back up into top lane. Karthus has his ultimate, but he was moving up.
Good call from GG. He said, hey, guys, Mandatory Cloud and Xmithy are missing. Nocturne and Karthus, like I said, with Doublelift against those Korean teams, oh, we have an advantage, let's go in, let's force this 2v2, but all of a sudden, the Nocturne ults, the Shen ults, the Summoner teleports, they come in and they turn it into this unwinnable 4v2 situation. So CLG really showing improvement, not getting baited by those sort of, lane stage solo queue-like advantages that at the team level are actually really not quite in your favor.
So Xmithy chilling in this brush, possibly looking to set up a gank. They might be coordinating something here because Karthus ult is up, Nocturne ult is up, and they might just be going in for a standard gank, although he's going to walk right through a ward, and actually he's going to back up because Mandatory Cloud is looking to pick up some new toys.
Pick up some new toys indeed. Speaking of which, if we do take a look at the gold, gold tallies, we do see that, of course, Karthus did just pick up that Rod of Ages. Looks like Nocturne does have a fairly sizable chunk of gold, sitting at about 845. Might want to turn that into something like a Heart of Gold, really start getting that tankiness up, especially for the late game, when he's going to be diving into the middle of, a pretty brutal CC lock. Excuse me. On the other hand, Doublelift on Caitlyn, just about 20 gold short of that BF sword.
Oh, this trade's starting to go bad for him. He has to jump away with that net. And I think if Aphromoo had landed that last Q, he would have followed it up.
Yeah. A nice job with that Phage proc. Muffin Cutie actually not deciding to go for the ulti there. Also would have been a nice way to follow up that kill because, of course, Aphromoo did have that Ezreal already, as well as the Ignite. At any rate, looks like they're quite comfortable to just kind of sit there, freeze the lane.
Oh, no. That pink ward is going to make Mandatory Cloud a little sad because he just lost his ward, and it wasn't in the bush, I don't think.
Oh wow! What, it was just right where Chowster is. It was just a little bit outside that brush.
It might have been, or he just saw it with his pick ward. I don't know whether or not he did. But Chowster chilling in mid lane, looking to make a gank happen onto Mandatory Cloud, and ganking a Karthus is pretty hard unless he's overextended. You can just farm at
There's
max
another phase
range.
proc going down on Double Lift bot, but a nice 90 caliber net from Double Lift does keep Afromu at bay and kind of get a little bit of distance between them.
Oh, I think
Muffin
Sona's
Cutie's
been
setting
caught.
up
Here
trap.
comes the engagement. The Shen ultimate is coming in. Muffin Cutie is definitely going to go down for this. And they're actually following it up with Big Fat LV flashing forward. They really want Afromoon. The Ignites are down. The Ezreal ultimate does go through. And actually the Karthus ultimate coming through, but is the Nunu ult that finishes the job, not the Caitlyn ultimate. And now Nidalee is going to look to push top tower, as I think they may even just decide to counter push bot.
And CLG really on top form here. You saw Double Lift actually flashed in there while the Shen ult was still ticking to provide Hotshot with an avenue to kind of land a nice taunt on top of Sona, securing that kill. And I mean, they're just really using their sort of, lane stage strengths to their advantage. I think they do need to kind of, be a little cautious, because Shen ult and Twisted Fate, unless you're using it as sort of a split push comp strat, which Nidalee does sort of counter with, just her kit manaless AoE damage to push, and that teleport she's picked up as a summoner ability. CLG really need to be careful about this, because they might find this sort of lane stage advantage evaporate, at the 30-minute mark, 35-minute mark. Hotshot in particular has had trouble split pushing versus something like a Nocturne and Ashe, some sort of heavy engaged team. So we'll see. Maybe Xmithy is going to go ahead and pick up a Frozen Mallet, and then all of a sudden this split pushing that Shen wants to do, that Twisted Fate wants to do, is just not going to be possible. But we shall see.
Yeah, with that in mind, the Karthus ultimate did go down there, and it almost killed both Nunu and Twisted Fate. So had that been picked up, that would have been a completely different things would be pretty solidly different. So if MME can just, lock down some of those kills, they got caught out pretty hard there. A lot of damage went down on the Muffin Cutie before the ultimate went out, and Afromu couldn't really follow it up and pick up any, solid kills off of that. But if they can try and make that happen next time. And he wanted to steal away that red buff, but couldn't do it. Didn't have the damage.
Looks like Chowster's getting it, yeah. I guess that's a signal that really they just want to keep making these sort of aggressive plays. They want to find people. They want to catch people. Twisted Fate does have his ulti up. Looks like they're not going to engage on that 4v2 mid. Instead, Double F sees that there's a big wave down bot, knows that it's going to be pushing against Afromu and just wants to kind of clear that out.
I think we might be about to see a dive onto Mandatory Cloud. That is what is happening. Hotshot GG has popped out his ghost. He's going from behind. He is going to land the taunt. So much damage. Karthus is definitely going to die, but can Nidalee pick something up off of the back of this? There is no Karthus ultimate, forced to flashback, and that was just a well-calculated dive by CLG.
Yeah. Karthus ult, if you check, is not up for another 30 seconds after the point that kill went down. But then again, even if it was up, I mean, CLG not really in a position where it would have mattered. They were all pretty healthy, as Hotshot on Shen does have that chain vest. Is quite tanky. Smithy gonna go ahead and start out that Dragon. Balls is there to provide backup.
Yep, Afromu is coming up from the side, but people are pinching in. Out comes the Shen ultimate, so they're definitely looking to turn this into a fight. They've caught Muffin Cutie. He is definitely going down. Double flash over the wall. Xmithy is going to mess around with Chowster. Afromu has gotten out of there, but Xmithy is now definitely going to be caught. The red buff take is on there. A nice ultimate over the wall, but there are just 3 members there. It's not going to be enough to get him out of trouble, and he is going to get locked up by a Caitlyn trap. Nidalee made it out of there safely, but things turning very, very bad for Monomaniac.
I think maybe, it was a nice attempt from Xmithy. I didn't actually see that those, I think it was GG and Nguyen Nat on that Nunu support. They were actually in the process of recalling.
A max range kick from Chowster, the ultimate knocking him back. The DFG from Big Fat LP comes out, and Double Lift doesn't have to tank the tower, as Chowster and Big Fat LP did the job for him, and Chowster going to pick up that kill. So just continued aggression from CLG, never letting up.
Yeah. And actually, it is interesting to know that Monomaniac, actually, they had the gold lead earlier, sitting about 1,000 gold.
Looks
in
like
the
we're
lead,
seeing a
sort of.
duel between the two top laners. Ball's getting taken down very, very low. Needs a little bit more damage. Hotshot
Hotshot's
doesn't
out.
have the energy to do anything, but his passive is doing so much damage. A nice heal into the bush. Can the swap into the Cougar form do it? No. And Twisted Fate popped his ultimate to come in and save Hotshot, but Hotshot clearly knows Nidalee best.
Yeah, and I mean that's the sort of strength, you know. We've seen it before with Hotshot and his main champs, playing against that Nidalee, playing against that Chote. He knows what the strengths are. He knows what the weaknesses are. He knows where he stands relative to damage output and all those sorts of factors. He's definitely putting on a strong performance so far. 206 with 170 CS, and that's not even, you know, of course there's a CS difference, but that's not counting the number of times that Hotshot's, you know, ganked bot, left the lane with his ulti, things like that, which are all, you know, contributing factors to this 2K gold lead that CLG have built up. By no means is this game over, and if, you know, mMe.Ferus are one of the teams that I respect most for coming back in games. I've seen a lot in the ESL Pro Series. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this game stretch out another 10, 20 minutes.
Oh wow, another top lane duel, and Hotshot is definitely winning it. He picked up his Sunfire Cape, has his Phage, and his Heart of Gold, and now both junglers making their way up towards top lane. We're thinking about engaging, but both decided to back off. As everyone from Monomaniac, they're kind of just chilling around on their side of the map, not looking to push out any lanes or make any aggressive plays.
Yeah. Anyway, as we are approaching the 20-minute mark, looks like CLG on the blue side are about 2,000 gold up.
Oh no, balls. I think he's about to get caught. Looks like Hotshot and Chester coming. Gonna pinch on him. Definitely
Nice
gonna land the kick. Waiting for him to jump over. Slows him down. The Shen ultimate going in so that Chester can just duel with balls and keep him there. The taunt from Hotshot comes out. And Caitlyn is there. The Caitlyn ultimate coming through, doing a chunk of damage to Nidalee. He's gonna get kicked before he can pounce over the wall. And now the chase is on Hotshot. And Chester instantly getting Sona stunned and walking through the Karthus wall. So not letting them follow that up and just chase down their team. Meanwhile, Twisted Fate is in bot lane, up against Aphromoo, who hasn't really been able to do all that much this game.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, it looks like Big
Nidalee
Fat
is
OP
losing
wants
her
to
edge,
pick
by
the
the way.
fight. Oh no, never mind. Well, he
Nidalee-
DFG'd him, so like I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna pick the fight.
Oh, down bot lane.
Yeah, he's either dueling down in bot lane, and Big Fat LP is actually gonna chunk down Aphromoo, the ultimate from Karthus coming out, but kind of, you know, a little late to the party.
Yeah, and that was a blue card, as opposed to, you know, obviously the gold card would have stunned him, allowing maybe a secondary auto attack to pick up the kill there. But that blue card does have a little bit more burst damage than the gold, dealing 100, well, not a little bit, a lot, 120 magic damage on that blue card compared to just 45 on the gold. Tons of burst damage going down. And I guess maybe GG just had the confidence to throw down that blue card knowing that the damage would be able to take him down. Whereas, you know, a gold card followed by an auto attack or two, maybe not so much. But wow, you can see up top lane, Hotshot just punishing balls on that Nidalee. Not quite able to, you know, truly outpush and get turrets or anything like that, but just really winning these
He's
trades.
just dueling him
Turret
under the
diving.
tower. It doesn't care. He took no damage in that entire exchange and took 3 tower hits.
By the way, I didn't quite get the chance to say this to those people who are just tuning in now. CLG Prime versus mMe.Ferus in the IEM Singapore North American Qualifiers. After this, we're going straight into Team Dynamic versus Dignitas for the ESL Pro Series. So be sure to stay tuned. 21 minutes into the game here, 11 kills to 2 on CLG, but really, the gold count is only 4,000 gold in the lead of CLG. Great farming and objectives taking from mMe.Ferus. I said earlier, this game is not, you know, don't write this out by any means. If Xmithie can kind of get a little bit more beefy, things can really go in their favor. The Baron, maybe going to be the wrong call here. Nat Nguyen actually gets taken really low. But Ezreal and Twisted Fate are kind of dueling it down bot lane. If a fight were to break out there, Twisted Fate would have a much easier time getting up to that Baron area with that ulti. Whereas Ezreal would really only be able to shoot out a True Shot Barrage and hope for the best. So good stuff from CLG. They really love this sort of macro play where they all, go to the right spot at exactly the right time, really use their global presence to the best of their ability. Shen, as well as Twisted Fate, really able to kind of punish Monomaniac, whereas that Nidalee with a teleport does have some global
the Twisted
elements.
Fate ultimate has been popped. He's gonna teleport in, gonna lock up Karthus, lands the DFG, and now the Sona ultimate locks them down for a little while. But Chaucer is just going man mode in there, goes all the way towards the tower. Doublelift picks up the kill. He's still taking the tower, and Muffin Cutie gets taunted down. Balls is now shown up to the party, but gets kicked out and exhausted. The Empire ultimate coming out. Xmithy trying to dive onto someone, make something happen, but he's gonna get caught. And just Doublelift just kiting around everyone without a care in the world.
Doublelift with that Infinity Edge. I mean, Karthus got chunked down so hard, didn't even actually use his ult there. I don't know if it was down right as he entered that death-defiled state, because Doublelift just chasing with that new Blood Boil on was able to get down 2 or 3 crits in a row, not even waiting to stop and use that Caitlyn ulti to try and finish him off. Had the confidence to say, all right, I'm just going to go ahead, put down a couple auto attacks and end this. But you could see the Nocturne ult was late. The Nidalee teleport was late. Monomaniac just really not quite, living up to expectations here with how they're dealing with CLG's sort of, global presence team fighting strategy. They have the Karthus ult, they have the Nidalee teleport, but it's just not enough.
So taking the Baron and instantly moving over to pick themselves up a dragon.
So 10k lead.
They're starting to push the lead. Very, very solid. And Doublelift is just commanding on Caitlyn. He's just never caught out, ever.
Mm-hmm. One of the big things that Nocturne's underrated for, by the way, is he's one of the few junglers with a true sort of wave clear. Obviously a lot of junglers these days have a priority over AoE, but Nocturne's one of the few junglers who not only has that AoE very long range, it's about the range of an Ezreal Q. Ezreal Mystic Shot, but also it's a line missile. It goes straight down the middle of a wave, and now that CLG have this 10k gold lead, now that CLG have just all gone back and bought, they're gonna want to push their advantage. And as long as Monomaniac.Ferus play their cards right with the Karthus, with the Nocturne, with the Ezreal ult, the Nid, ranged auto attacks, they might be able to defend at least the inhibitor turrets. Then again, they are quite split. Ezreal's still just kind of defending against Twisted Fate down on the bot lane, not really providing much room for them to kind of defend this mid turret. Chaucer gonna go ahead and steal that red buff away. And just look at Doublelift. That long range on Caitlyn, long range on AD carries in general. Sona rated. Q lands on Sona. E lands. Can Chaucer get the kick? Is he going to kick Karthus? He actually kicks Karthus towards the team. I don't know if that's the right decision, though, because Doublelift does eventually go down. Natty again tries to get the slowdown. Sona does get taken quite low. Chaucer able to pick up the kill there. So that was Shen. Lee Sin able to pick up the kill on Karthus. A nice dash over the wall from Hotshot GG, able to catch out Afro move. Chaucer able to pick up the kill there. Smithy going to go down. That's a 4-for-0 exchange so far. Balls does get caught out. The Tempest lands. This could be the end for MME.F.
Yeah, Shen final taunt is gonna finish the job, and I don't know. They're just CLG came out big in every single team fight. They never had a problem. Doublelift was almost never out of position. He only fell in this one fight, and I think this is gonna be GG.
Yeah, Sona's up. Another 10 seconds on Ezreal. Another 10 seconds on Xmithy. Mandatory Cloud's up in only 5. Can Sona get in and try to do anything to save this last Nexus turret before her teammates res? Afromu still does have ulti. Nexus turret's exposed, but now CLG is going to have to go ahead and back off. CLG just really playing this tightly as a sort of cohesive team.
Yeah, no trouble at all with Hotshot moving back up into top lane.
Yeah, sort of the prodigal son returns.
Oh, but I think Big Fat OP is going to get caught out by Afromu, finally trying to make some sort of play. The slow wall misses from Karthus, and the yellow card is going to lock up
Chaucer's
Afromu.
around.
Yeah, but Double Lift is pinching him from the side, and this doesn't look like a good fight for them. The Twisted Fate ultimate has gone out, and he isn't going to chase them down.
And now, of course, Monomaniac have lost this middle inhibitor. Looks like CLG are now... Oh, top lane.
Yep, Hotshot getting caught by Xmithy and Balls, and oh my god, he's going to teleport away, and they can't stop him.
Good
They had
stuff.
no
That
CC
is,
to do it.
however, you know, that Nocturne Fear, if it was up, could be trouble for Hotshot in the future. This is where being a split pusher really starts to get risky. That Nocturne is going to be all of a sudden, you know, you're 1v1ing Nidalee up in that top lane. All of a sudden, the Karthus ult goes down, the Nocturne ult goes down, and you die before you can get an ulti off or regroup with your team. That's really a trouble that CLG has had in the past with this split push kind of comp. And we'll see how it goes for them. Taking a look at Smithy's items, by the way, he doesn't yet have that Frozen Mallet, which is another great tool to combat the split push, because obviously with a Phage, you have a 25% chance to slow your opponent. Upgrade that to the Frozen Mallet for about 1900 gold. All of a sudden, it's a 100% chance. That's a completely different equation. It means you ult a Hotshot, you put one auto attack down, and he's done for. With this, you know, at this stage, though, he's still sort of relying on chance.
Yeah, but he's so tanky. He's just tanking through the tower as Double Lift lands basic attack after basic attack. And, you know, Lee Sin is split pushing it onto Aphromoo. Actually, the ultimate from Caitlyn comes out. A nice spell shield from Nocturne is going to block it. Now the Nocturne ultimate has come out. Aphromoo is going to fall. And now Shen has taunted up 3 members in the back line. He's just keeping them busy while Double Lift just cuts through the rest of the enemy team. Ball's getting chased down. I think this is GG as Double Lift pretty much has free reign on the Nexus.
Wow, amazing game by CLG. 21-3 here. Nice little fountain dive as a nightcap there for, you know, an awesome day of these North American qualifiers here for the IEM Singapore event next month.